moving forward.
Tonight, a Delaware judge rules early voting and permanent absentee laws unconstitutional, but the Attorney General vows to appeal. Plus, one Delaware school district faces pushback on proposed student-directed learning days. And the Oceans Calling Festival is headed back to Ocean City. Details on this year's hottest beachside summer concert. Those stories and much more coming up tonight on DETV News. Hello and welcome to DETV News. I'm Matt Ford. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Making headlines today, voting here in Delaware has become a bit more restrictive for now. A judge has struck down Delaware's permanent absentee and early voting statuses as unconstitutional. A Friday ruling from the Delaware Superior Court Judge Mark Connor found that the Constitution allows for only 1 day for voting, while the state's early voting law stretched that to 10 days. On the issue of permanent absentee voting, Connor wrote that the state constitution allows a voter to participate in absentee voting at only the election at which they are unable to appear. Well, at a press conference this afternoon, Attorney General Kathy Jennings vowed to appeal the ruling. Jennings said that courts are looking to restrict voting nationwide. 21,000 Delawareans, mostly sick, disabled, or with the military, make use of the absentee ballot law, and 56,000 people voted early in the 2022 general election. Jennings said her office will seek a court order pausing the Superior Court decision while she appeals the decision to the Delaware Supreme Court. We'll certainly keep you posted there. In other news, long-term care here in Delaware will undergo several key changes if a package of 4 bills introduced Monday are made into law. State Senator Spiros Montavinos is sponsoring 4 pieces of legislation aimed at reforming the system. Bills would require inspections on a more regular basis with penalties if facilities do not comply. Fines against homes that do not comply with regulations would be increased, and the numbers of long-term care workers would be increased through strengthened ties with Delaware's institutions of higher learning. Legislators said the introduction of the package follows the work of the Aging in Place Working Group from 2022 and the Long-Term Care and Memory Care Task Force from 2023. And several children were taken to the hospital complaining of burns on their hands after playing with a jewelry making kit brought to school by one of the students. It happened shortly before noon Monday at Shortridge Academy in Wilmington. It's in the Red Clay Consolidated School District. A spokeswoman for the district said the unauthorized kit contained glow glue, which reportedly caused discomfort in the hands of several children. The school sent home a statement on the incident saying that parents, guardians, and staff will be reminded to monitor students so items such as these are not brought to school. And detectives have charged 20-year-old Justin Hazabala of Newcastle with a stabbing that happened Friday afternoon. Police were called to the 1400 block of New Jersey Avenue, where they found a 47-year-old man that had been assaulted with multiple cuts and stab wounds. Through interviews and investigation, police identified Hazabala as the suspect and took him into custody. He was charged with the assault in the first degree, possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a felony, and terroristic threatening. He was arraigned and committed on an $81,000 secured bond. And a children's pastor with the Stein Highway Church of God in Seaford has been charged with 10 felony counts of dealing in child pornography. 74-year-old James Dryden, a youth pastor for more than 20 years, was arrested earlier this month. That's according to Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings. The investigation into Dryden resulted from cyber tips generated by Microsoft, adding that his IP address had accessed and downloaded child sexual abuse material. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigation involved the Department of Justice and the Delaware State Police. He is being held at the Sussex Correctional Institution on $500,000 cash bail. The DOJ said the investigation continues, but there currently is no knowledge of any victims affiliated directly with the church, and that Dryden is not charged with contacting a child. In other news now, Cecil County authorities are investigating a suspected carbon monoxide poisoning that left a man dead and a woman in critical condition. Family members discovered 59-year-old Stephen Hannaford at his home in Earlville on Saturday. He was unresponsive and later died. They found his girlfriend disoriented in a bedroom. She was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Firefighters say a kerosene heater was the only source of heat in the house, which also had no electricity. And 2 people were hospitalized this morning, Tuesday, after suffering minor injuries in a Glasgow house fire. That's according to first responders. Firefighters and paramedics were called to the 200 block of Emma Way in the Shelley Farms development just before 4:30 in the morning for reports of a blaze. 2 men, ages 54 and 60, had escaped before firefighters arrived. Paramedics treated them for smoke inhalation and burns and took them to Christiana Hospital for treatment. Fallen electrical lines and extreme hoarding inside the home made it difficult to get inside the house. That's according to the fire company that did respond. The Delaware State Fire Marshal's office is investigating the cause of the blaze. Both men were listed in stable condition at last check. And drivers in Wilmington need to be prepared as heavily traveled Walnut Street Bridge will be closed for routine maintenance for the next several days. The closure will be in effect for all vehicles and pedestrian traffic between A Street and East Front Street. The closure started Monday morning and ends Sunday, March 3rd. The Department of Transportation says the work is weather dependent and that drivers should expect minor delays and, of course, use caution in that area. To Kent County now. In Milford, proposed student-directed learning days face criticism from school board members. The 2024-2025 academic calendar suggests 4 of these such days, aiming to provide time for teacher grading and planning. The chief academic officer defends the concept, emphasizing student capability and potential productivity. While concerns are impacting that they say that working parents and its effectiveness. The school board asked for a revised draft of the calendar for its March 18th meeting next month. Its members can approve the revised calendar at that March meeting or in April's, but it must be approved by May's meeting. Also in Monday's meeting, the board voted to increase the pay of substitute school nurses from $200 to $250. That's a 25% raise there. And a Kent County paramedic was awarded a Medal of Valor today for an act of heroism that saved the life of a Frederica woman. Paramedic Michael Porter responded to a house fire in January this year, just after 1 in the morning, to find significant flames engulfing the duplex home. After being notified that an elderly woman was trapped inside that home, Porter pinpointed a critical entry point on the 2nd floor and located the woman on the interior stairs before devising a path out of that burning building. A statement presented to Porter from the Kent County Levy Court read that his swift assessment, decisive communication, and unwavering commitment to saving a life, even at great personal risk, emphasizes his valor and integrity, and was honored today. And a new survey places Delaware in the top 10 places for women. Wallet Hub compared the 50 states and Washington, D.C. across 25 key indicators of living standards for women. These include median earnings, health care, and murder rates. The top performing states were generally in the Northeast, with Massachusetts taking the top spot, and Delaware, we rounded out the top 10. The worst states for women, you might ask, according to the survey. Those are Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, Arkansas, and West Virginia. And before we leave you tonight, Ocean City's massive music festival, Ocean's Calling, has announced their 2024 performance lineup slated for this September. Headliners include Blink-182, The Beach Boys, Counting Crows, the Dave Matthews Band, Cage the Elephant, Boyz II Men, and more. Last year, the very first Ocean's Calling featured headliners including Alanis Morissette, John Mayer, and the Lumineers. The inaugural festival drew in thousands last year and provided an economic boost to Ocean City businesses well after the peak summer season. Tickets Pre-sales begin this Thursday at 10 a.m., February 29th, and the general on sale is just 1 hour later at 11 a.m. More information on the festival, including the full lineup, can be found on the official Oceans Calling website. Making headlines today, a 42-year-old Wilmington man faces decades behind bars after his conviction on several felonies, including 3 counts of attempted murder. Attorney General Kathy Jennings said Bacher Dillard was convicted on multiple charges earlier this month in connection with an April 2022 shooting incident in which Dillard and 2 associates fired more than 15 rounds into a parked car occupied by 3 people. In January, Dillard was convicted in a separate trial on 3 counts of drug dealing, possession of a firearm by a person prohibited, and possession of drug paraphernalia, following the discovery of a cache of weapons, drugs, and distribution materials. He was taken into custody after a 9-month manhunt. He was taken into custody after the execution of a search warrant by members of the Wilmington Police Department, the FBI, and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives after he attempted to evade arrest and dispose of evidence. Dillard is eligible to be sentenced as a habitual offender and faces a minimum mandatory sentence of 89 years. Further south, shots were fired in the parking lot of Sussex Central High School in Georgetown Tuesday night during a basketball game against Cape Henlopen High School. Police on duty at the game were alerted to gunshots outside the school on Patriots Way just before 9 p.m. That was according to a Delaware State Police news release. Multiple shell casings were fired in the parking lot, but there were no reported injuries. Surveillance footage identified a 15-year-old Sussex Central student as the suspect. He later turned himself in with his parents. The student was charged with 5 felonies and committed to the Stevenson House Detention Center on an $82,000 secured bond. Sussex Central parents received a message from the school saying the gunfire damaged the main door as well as a window across the street. And in other news, a 3-car crash involving a school bus sent 4 adults to the hospital, but no children were hurt. The wreck happened just before 6:30 Wednesday morning at the intersection of Limestone Road and Kirkwood Highway. A man in a work van was briefly trapped in the wreckage. A 64-year-old man was treated by paramedics and taken to Christiana Hospital in serious condition with internal injuries. Another 64-year-old man and 2 other women, both in their 30s, suffered less serious injuries. The intersection was shut down for more than an hour this morning while the crash was investigated. And the attorney representing Randon Wilkerson, convicted in the 2021 killing of Delmar Police Corporal Keith Hecook, has filed an appeal. Wilkerson, now 33 years old, received a double life sentence last year after being found guilty of murder and 15 other charges stemming from the events on April 25, 2021. According to court documents, Wilkerson, after a night of drinking and drug use, assaulted Hecook when the officer responded to a 911 call from one of Wilkerson's roommates. State prosecutors described a brutal attack where Wilkerson knocked Hecook unconscious and stomping on his head. Hecook later died in the hospital. Waiving a jury trial, Wilkerson was found guilty on multiple charges by a Superior Court judge last year, resulting in 2 life sentences. Wilkerson's attorney filed the appeal, citing a possible involuntary intoxication defense, which had caused trial delays. While court documents do not elaborate on the appeal's basis, Wilkerson claims he mistook methamphetamine for bath salts, leading to involuntary intoxication. State prosecutors rejected this assertion, saying that it would not absolve Wilkerson of his responsibility of his actions. The appeal process is ongoing, with legal experts closely monitoring the case. And police have charged a Maryland man with dealing cocaine in downtown Newark. The investigation began in October when the Newark Police Department learned that 40-year-old Michael Gordon Summers of Elkton was selling drugs on Main Street. Officers surveilled the man and saw him dealing numerous drug transactions. On Friday, officers conducted a traffic stop on the man's vehicle and arrested him. Inside the vehicle, police found 23 grams of cocaine and materials used to package drugs for sale. Summers was charged with possession of cocaine with intent to deliver, drug dealing, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was released on his own recognizance. And in other news, Delaware Governor John Carney will deliver his State of the State address on Tuesday, March 5th at 2 p.m. from the House of Representatives chamber in Legislative Hall. The Delaware General Assembly will convene in a joint session beginning at 1:45 p.m. prior to the address. The State of the State address was originally scheduled for January 18th, but was postponed due to the governor not feeling well. This will be Carney's final State of the State as he completes his last year as governor. A new governor will be elected in November and sworn in next year. And the Food Bank of Delaware is looking for additional volunteers to pitch in at their new location in Milford. The food bank moved into a new building last month, allowing them to establish new and expanded programs to help alleviate food insecurity in the community. Since opening, the food bank has assisted more than 14,000 households in the new Healthy Pantry Center and distributed nearly 710,000 meals to their new warehouse. The food bank has scheduled an open house on Tuesday, March 5th to educate the community about a 3.5-acre garden and provide more information on volunteer opportunities. And as work continues on a new Beach Patrol headquarters and a comfort station on Rehoboth Beach, city officials have announced temporary parking restrictions near the site. A crane is expected to be placed at the construction site beginning tomorrow, Thursday. City officials said the parking restrictions are necessary because of the size of the equipment. Restrictions can be expected from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 3 spots. They are at the corner of Rehoboth Avenue and First Street from Rehoboth to Baltimore, and at either end of the first block of Baltimore Avenue. Portions of the boardwalk will be closed during construction, but pedestrians will still have walking access to the narrowed boardwalk. Once completed, the 2-story headquarters will feature a state-of-the-art patrol facility that gives lifeguards improved sight lines along the beach and a gateway between the boardwalk and Baltimore Avenue. Construction is slated to be completed in May of 2025. And it's a swan song for the number 2 pencil. The SAT, the intimidating exam that serves as a rite of passage into college, will go all digital on March 9th. Test organizers say moving the test online is the biggest challenge to hit the exam in 100 years. The new test will be taken exclusively on a laptop or tablet and will be taken through the College Board's Blue Book app. Moving the test online keeps the exam up to date with the times and allows for accommodations to support students at all levels. That's according to test organizers. Students will take reading and writing portion first at an average level with a mix of easy, medium, and difficult questions. Depending on how well they do, the second portion will be adjusted by the computer according to their level. The math portion of the test will now have calculator access. School officials around the country say students are so equipped and they are ready for the electronic world that the new format should be a smooth transition for them. The new online test is 1 hour shorter than the 3-hour paper and pencil exam. With the changes, students are expected to get results even faster in a matter of days than weeks. And the American dream of homeownership may open up to many who didn't think it was possible at a Spring into Homeownership event here in Wilmington on Saturday. First-time home buyers are invited to attend the event from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Lewis L. Redding City County Building. That's at 800 North French Street here in the Wilmington. The free event will feature tables with information on the steps to purchase, along with breakout Q&A sessions with mortgage lenders and housing counselors. One lucky family can win $5,000 in a raffle toward a new abode. Participants will also be invited to take a bus tour of a newly constructed affordable housing on the city's east side. And now there are 4. After a comprehensive worldwide search for a new music director, the Delaware Symphony Orchestra, or the DSO, has announced the final 4 candidates in consideration for the search. The search began last summer for a call with applicants Frank Close, president of the DSO said that he was astonished and impressed to receive more than 150 applications from around the globe. A 13-member search committee reviewed applications and conducted interviews through the fall of 2023 to narrow the search to the 4. All 4 finalists will appear with DSO during the 2024-2025 season, and feedback will be gathered. The appointment is expected to no earlier than spring of 2025. For more information on the individual finalists and the upcoming season, you can visit DelawareSymphony.org. Here's what's making headlines across the first state. There's been a big shakeup at Wilmington-based Chemours Company, with the company's CEO, CFO, and controller all placed on administrative leave. The announcement came late Wednesday night when it was supposed to issue its fourth quarter and full year 2023 financial results. President and Chief Executive Officer Mark Newman, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer Jonathan Locke, and Controller and Principal Accounting Officer Camilla Weisel are now on leave pending an internal review. The review will be done by an audit committee of the board with assistance from an outside firm. In a press release, Chemours said the review would include reports made to the Chemours Ethics Hotline and filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The company announced 2 weeks ago that the year-end reporting process would be delayed, and it was evaluating its internal control over its financial reporting. The company has named Denise Dignam as interim CEO and Matt Abbott as interim Chief Financial Officer. To Kent County now, to a couple that pled guilty to the long-term abuse and torture of their 2 children have been sentenced to more than a total of 150 years behind bars. That was announced by the Delaware Department of Justice just this Thursday afternoon. 46-year-old Mary Visnan and 37-year-old Charles Vinson reportedly abused their children, one at age 10 and the other from ages 11 to 13. The kids were regularly assaulted, force-fed, starved, and made to stand for long periods of time, according to court records. The abuse was caught on camera, and the parents had installed in their room and were both hospitalized multiple times. Mary Vinson pled guilty to 30 felonies and received 106 years in prison. Charles pled guilty and was to 12 felonies and was sentenced to 49 years behind bars. Switching gears now, it was a resounding yes for red clay schools yesterday, as nearly 71% of voters approved a 50-cent increase to the property tax rate for capital projects and ballooning operating costs. The increases will take place over the next 3 years. Wednesday's vote marked the first red clay referendum in nearly a decade. Just over 9,800 votes were cast, according to the unofficial results. Approval for red clay came just weeks after voters in the Brandywine School District approved a spending increase there with 77% of the vote. Taxpayers in the Colonial School District hit the polls today, Thursday, for a tax referendum in their district. Red clay warned residents that there would be drastic cuts to programs should the referendum have failed. And Ursuline Academy will be getting a complete renovation of its gymnasium and fitness center, all thanks to record-breaking $5 million donation from real estate developer and philanthropist Anthony Fusco Sr. That was announced this afternoon. It is the largest single donation to the all-girls Catholic school on Pennsylvania Avenue here in Wilmington in its 130-year history. The seating capacity of the Laffey McHugh Gymnasium will be increased by 200 seats, and the fitness center, to be named after Fusco, will receive new locker rooms, athletic offices, and other improvements. Thanks to his generosity, Fusco's name already adorns the athletic center and stadium at the Delaware Military Academy, and he made an additional $10 million donation to the athletic center at Salesianum. In other news, a 39-year-old Wilmington woman has been charged with murder in connection to a domestic-related stabbing that happened early Wednesday morning. Delaware State Police responded to the intersections of Maryland Avenue and Clayton Road just before 1 in the morning after receiving a 911 call about the incident. In the 911 call, Clarissa Sierra told officers she was involved in a physical fight that led to the stabbing Officers found a man stabbed in the chest when they arrived at the scene. The man was not identified by police, nor did they release information about Sierra's relationship to the stabbing victim. Sierra still had the knife when she was arrested. Said police she is being held on more than $1 million bond. And a tight-knit neighborhood in Newark was terrorized by an overnight break-in. It all happened shortly before 2 a.m. on Wincliffe Lane. Police say 2 suspects broke into a home but fled after they were confronted by a resident inside the home. The homeowner said the burglary happened within seconds. Police say the suspects broke a basement window to get inside, causing the alarm to go off. Well, when they saw the intruders just feet away from them in their house, they screamed, and the suspects ran out the front door empty-handed. Investigators also believe the same suspects tried to break into another home along Cook Way, which is near the Wincliffe Lane Road residence itself. No arrests have been made at this time. Detectives are asking residents in the area to go ahead and check their cameras and security systems for any videos or images between February 27th at 11 p.m. and February 28th at 3:30 a.m. Anyone that may have information is asked to contact Newark Police. And 3 men have been arrested in connection to a home invasion earlier this month, reports Dover Police. Police responded to the 100 block of Old Forge Drive early February 14th and found a 31-year-old man with a gunshot wound to his upper body. Police learned that 3 men had kicked the back of the door to the residence open and shot the victim. Police were able to identify the 3 suspects as 27-year-old Jameer Lewis, 30-year-old Emery Cannon, and 30-year-old Morris Savage. Lewis was taken into custody on February 21st and charged with multiple offenses. He was being held on $147,000 cash bail. Yesterday, Wednesday, police learned that the 2 other suspects had boarded a train for California. Working with Amtrak and the Los Angeles Police Department, the 2 men were taken into custody at the Amtrak station in Los Angeles. Both were awaiting extradition back here to Delaware to formally be charged. And a 54-year-old Newcastle man has been charged with aggravated menacing Wednesday morning following a road rage incident in Claymont. Police said Ronnie Ane followed a driver into the Wawa parking lot located on Naaman's Road after believing he had been cut off on the highway. He parked allegedly behind the driver and an argument ensued. That's when police say that he exited his vehicle holding an unfolded knife behind his back and yelling until witnesses had to intervene. Police took him into custody without incident. He was arraigned and released on a $12,000 unsecured bond. And 2 people were hurt Wednesday night in a rollover crash on McKinnon's Church Road near McCain High School. Newcastle County Police said 1 person was trapped in the vehicle and another had been ejected when they arrived on the scene around 10:30 p.m. Mill Creek firefighters removed 1 victim from the vehicle. Both were treated at the scene by Newcastle County paramedics before being taken to Christiana Hospital for treatment. The County Police Traffic Services Unit is investigating this crash. And no injuries were reported in the collapse of a vacant building facade on East 4th Street near Pine Street here in Wilmington. The collapse was reported just before midnight on Wednesday. The building had been vacant for some time, said Wilmington firefighters, and had been part of a row of similar homes that had been previously demolished. The City of Wilmington's Department of License and Inspection is investigating the collapse. Turning now to political news, the race for Delaware's U.S. House seat narrowed Wednesday with the announcement from Delaware State Treasurer Colleen Davis that she has left the race. Davis has said in a social media post Wednesday that her campaign for the Democratic nomination was over. She said in a statement that she and her family had been through difficult times in recent weeks and months. After learning of a genetic mutation that poses a cancer risk, Davis had her ovaries removed and underwent a double mastectomy. She added that while she was recovering well, the ordeal had clarified her life's priorities. Still in the race for the Democratic nomination are State Senator Sarah McBride and former State Housing Authority Director Eugene Young. Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester is, of course, running for U.S. Senate. And the seasonal closure of the point at Cape Henlopen State Park takes place tomorrow, Friday, March 1st. The Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, or DENREC as you may know them, said this that the 30th year of this stretch of ocean and bay beach will be closed to humans to allow for the nesting of migratory shorebirds, including some endangered species. The piping plover, red knots, and American oyster catchers all call the point home for the summer. The oceanside beach will reopen September 1st, while the bayside will stay closed until October 1st. March 1st is also when 2024 entrance fees for Delaware State Parks go into effect through March 30th. For vehicles registered in Delaware, the fees are set for $4 for inland parks and $5 for ocean parks. Out-of-state vehicles cost $8 at inland parks and $10 at ocean parks. Credit card machines are available at most park locations, and for sites without fee attendants, self-registration envelopes can be deposited in secure drop boxes. Annual passes are also available. Fees collected account for 70% of the funds needed to manage and maintain our parks. And in related news, the Delaware Seashore State Park will be at the site of a beach driving clinic on March 30th. Here's what it's all about. Staff will lead drivers on the sand to learn about this popular activity. To drive on the beach, participants must have a valid surf tag and the required equipment, which includes a low pressure tire gauge, chain or a tow rope, board, jack and shovel. The clinic starts at 9 a.m. on the Indian River Life Saving Station. The class runs for roughly 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it will cost $20. For reservations, you can visit that website seen there on your screen. And while it's nice to be assured that spring is just around the corner, we are reminded that we do have a few more weeks of winter left. Well, with that, here's our very own Shakira Denise with the forecast. Hey, Shakira.
Hey, Matt. Yes, all the talk about the beach and birds is definitely wanting me ready for spring and summer, but you're right, we do have a few more weeks of winter, but this weekend is shaping up not to be so bad. Let's check it out right now. On Friday, we're looking at a high of 49 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Saturday seems to be a soaker. Unfortunately, rain will be here all day. The high will be 55 degrees, low will be about 45 degrees. And on Sunday, it's shaping up to be a great day. Partly cloudy skies, and the high will be about 62 degrees. Now, even though Saturday is shaping up to be a rainy day, there are still some things to do in Wilmington. You may want to check out the Queen. They're having a Shine a Light on 1984. It's going to be a great event. There are going to be local artists there and music you can jam to the favorite year, if it's yours, 1984, but still a great event to come out and have a good time. Family fun night. Thank you so much, and Matt, will throw it right back to you.
Thanks, Shakira. I just got my tickets for Shine a Light last night, so I got mine, so awesome. I hope to see you guys there. Thousands of Delaware music lovers will unfortunately be disappointed to learn that the highly successful Firefly Music Festival will not be returning this year as promised. Organizers announced today, Thursday, that the festival would not be coming back to Dover in 2024. The festival was canceled in 2020 because of the COVID pandemic, you may remember, and it was not held last year in 2023. At this time, organizers said that the party that draws an estimated 40,000 people would be back this year. As of noon Thursday, the website was updated to read the festival would be back on Sunday when they say the timing is right. All is not lost, however, as promoters say music events are still planned at the site. The festival, the Montegreen Festival, featuring the band Fish, is currently scheduled from August 15th through the 18th at the Woodlands. And the president and CEO of the Ronald McDonald House of Delaware has been named Delaware's honoree in USA Today's Women of the Year program. Pan Cornforth has been with the charity before the house was even built, serving 3 decades with that program that provides refuge and relief for families whose children are in the hospital. Cornforth oversees dozens of full-time staff and volunteers. Under her leadership, the house has expanded twice, and she served 2 years as a member of the Ronald McDonald House Charities Global Advisory Board. She has also been active with other statewide nonprofits, including the Rotary Club of Wilmington, and founded the Fund for Women. A huge congratulations to her. And so you want to be a Rehoboth Beach lifeguard, you say? Well, there are opportunities to try out for these coveted positions coming up in the next few weeks. Physical fitness is required. Tryouts include swimming, running, push-ups, and sit-ups. Applicants must be at least 16 years old by Memorial Day weekend and certified in CPR and first aid. Pay starts at $17.50 an hour with an incentive bonus of up to $1,000. Details of the tryouts are shown here on your screen, and an application for more information can be found at cityofrehoboth.com. Shakira, are you going to be a lifeguard this summer? Are you going to try out?
Let me think about it. No.
I'm with you. We're going to save that to the others.
Yes, we'll leave it to the others. Yeah. We'll just lay on the beach and
keep everybody safe.
Watch them try out.
Perfect.
But it is a good cause.
It is
very
good.
People are doing that.
Yes. So what do you have planned for the weekend? You going to go to 1984?
You know it.
All right, perfect. I'll see you at the Queen.
Okay.
I think there are just a few tickets left.
Right. So you definitely want to purchase your tickets.
Yeah, head to the Queen's website for that. So we'll see you there.
It'll be a fun night.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's edition of DETV News. Be sure to follow us across your favorite social media platforms. And for a look at what's happening all around our great state of Delaware,
take a look at our website, detvch.com.
With tonight's news, I'm Matt Ford.
And I'm Shakira Denise.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.